Hello everyone and welcome to CAV Math Lab and our video series on addition and subtraction. In previous videos we looked at some addition strategies, and in this video we're going to look at some subtraction strategies that will help you learn and recall your subtraction facts easily and accurately. The first strategy we'll look at is using our fact families. When we're solving a subtraction problem, we can think of our related addition problem to help us solve it. For instance, when we're solving 8 minus 3, it might help to think of 3 plus 5 equals 8. Therefore, 8 minus 3 equals 5. Recalling our addition fact families is a great strategy for subtraction. Other things to observe when we're looking at subtraction is anytime we have a number minus itself, it's going to be 0. And anytime we have a number minus 0, it's going to be itself. So in this case, 4 minus 4 would be 0. And if we had 4 and we took away 0, it would be 4. Also, we know from our addition fact families that any number plus itself is a double. And so we can use that when we're doing subtraction. That if we have 6 and we take away half of 6, which is 3, we'll get the other half, 3. So this is a good way to use your doubles in addition to help you with subtraction. Another quick and easy observation we can make is whenever we have a number and we subtract 10 from that number, we are really just going to be leaving the ones digit. So here in this case we have 14 and we're going to be taking away the 10 and it's going to leave us 4. These are some handy observations that will just help you when you're solving subtraction facts. Let's look at some other ways that really understanding our fact families can help us when we're solving subtraction. So we know that in addition, we are taking one part and we're adding another part and it will equal the whole. So in this case, we have 3, that would be part, and then we would add to it 2, another part, and our whole here would be 5. And with subtraction, we take the whole, we would take 5, we could subtract one part, 2, and it would equal the other part, 3. A couple things we want to look at here. One mistake that students make is they think that the equal sign just means that then the answer is on this side. And that's not necessarily what the equal sign means. What it means is what's on this side of the equal sign is of the same value or equal to whatever's on this side of the equal sign. So here, if we have 3 plus 2 equals 5, then it must be true that 5 equals 3 plus 2. So sometimes you might see some addition and subtraction problems set up this way. Really understanding your fact families can also help when you have a missing digit in any place. Here we have 2 plus something equals 5. Well, we know in this case, since it's addition, that this must be a part and this must be a whole. So we could use our subtraction fact family to take our whole, subtract one of the parts, 2, and we know that the other part will be 3. In this case, we have some number minus 2, so this must be our whole. Our whole minus a part equals 3. And we know that if we add our parts, 3 plus 2, it will equal the whole 5. So the key here is just don't forget about your fact families when you're trying to solve these problems. Let's look at how we can solve subtraction problems by counting down or adding up. When we are subtracting a number by only 1 or 2, we can count down or count backwards. So for instance here, if we have 7 minus 1, we know that 7 take away 1 would lead us to 6. So counting backwards by 1 is a really good strategy. And we might even just do it without even realizing it. Or here we have 5 minus 2. Well, we know that 5 minus 1 is 4, so 5 minus 2 must be 3. So here again, counting down is a really easy strategy, and it takes very little effort, and it's still pretty accurate. Now, if we were subtracting more than 1 or 2, this strategy starts to not work very well, and it leads to some mistakes. We can also look at subtraction as adding up when the difference is 1 or 2. So here we can have this example. Here we have 5 minus 4. We know that if we started at 4 and added up 1, we would get to 5. So the difference between 5 and 4 is 1. Likewise, in this problem, we have 8 minus 6. And this is asking, what's the difference between 8 and 6? So adding up is a good strategy. We could start at 6 and add up 7, 8 and get 2. 2 is the difference between 8 and 6. Let's look at some strategies for solving problems with a difference larger than 1 or 2. In addition, we learned about using the making 10 strategy, and we can also use that for subtraction. Let's see how that works. This strategy works in two ways. We can either make 10 by going up or make 10 by going down. Here we're going to look at making 10 by going down. We're going to take away the ones digit first to get to 10, and then we'll take away the rest. In this case, we have 14 minus 6. So the first thing we can do is we can take away 4 to get to 10. And then we know we can take away 2 more and we'll get to 8. In this example, 15 minus 8, we can start at 15 and first take away the 5 to get to 10. And then we know we can subtract 3 more and get to 7. So by chunking or taking away in parts, it makes this problem easy to solve mentally. We can also solve by adding up to make 10 and then adding the rest to calculate the difference. Here we're going to solve the same two problems, but we're going to add up this time by making 10, and then we'll add the rest and calculate the difference. So here we're looking at the difference between 14 and 6. So if we start at 6 and we're trying to get to 14, we can first make 10 because we know that 6 and 4 makes 10, and then 10 to 14 is 4 more, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So the difference between 6 up to 14 is 8. For this problem, we have 15 minus 8. So we're trying to find what is the difference to get from 8 to 15. So here we know 8 and 2 is 10, and then 5 more would get us to 15. So we know that the difference between the two numbers is 7. We're going to look at one last strategy that also evaluates the difference between two numbers. This strategy looks at the difference between two numbers and recognizes that if we shift up or down the number line, it won't change that difference. So we can use this to make an easier problem to mentally subtract. So here, if we have a problem like 21 minus 7, we can see that the difference between 7 and 21 is 14. So in order to make this problem a little easier to solve mentally, we could shift this 14 down 1 on the number line to 20. And you can see that the difference between 20 and 6 is also 14. And here's another illustration of how this works. Well, that's all the strategies for this video. We really want to challenge you to use these new strategies and avoid counting down or counting on more than 1 or 2. This will really help you recall your math facts easily and accurately. The best way to get your facts memorized is to practice and play. And there's a lot of resources for you in the CAV Math Lab course on Schoology. This video goes over a lot of strategies, so really take your time and learn them and play with them. One resource that can help with this is a subtraction strategy sort mat, where you take fact cards and you sort them in these categories to see how would you solve that problem. This resource and a lot more are available to you in the CAV Math Lab course. If you go to Targeted Support under the Addition and Subtraction Strategies folder, you'll find a blank addition fact table that can help you identify which facts you still need to work on. There's lots of practice here for addition, and there's lots of subtraction here for your different subtraction strategies. Here's your subtraction sort mat. And there's also a lot of games for you to play in the Fluency Resources folder. Okay, that's it for this video. If you have any questions at all, be sure to reach out to us in the Math Lab.